I'm redoing the intro. So I thought we'd do a sit down story of, you can probably see in the thumbnail title, video about the neighborhood cat. So yes, spoiler alert, we did not steal a cat. She is a neighborhood cat, and this is the story of how she came to quote unquote live with us. Well, not really live with us, but she is definitely a returning guest every day. So this story starts out when we first moved into our townhouse. That was August of 2020. So I was looking through my photos just to get a bit of a timeline of when the cat joined us. Or when she appeared. Okay, here she is. Hi, I'm talking about you. Come to my lap. Come on. All right. Okay. By the way, the cat's name is Ellie. Here she is next to Mr. John Legend, the Christmas album. Anyway, so I was looking through our photos, and when the first time that I okay, so in the initial dates of when I started capturing her was August 2022. At that time, she had a pink collar around her, so we had the assumption that she was the neighborhood cat. We live in a townhouse complex, and there's also houses outside of the townhouse complex. So, you know, it's all cool. She likes to wander around. She's got a loving family. So that was that. And then we started noticing that she was coming around quite often. And in the summertime, we have like a patio set up, and she would go there at night, and we would see her snuggling up on the cushions. And when we do notice that she's there, we go out and we give her some pets, and she's just so sweet, and then we just leave her out there. So if she wanted to sleep out there, that's totally fine. And if she didn't, whatever, it's all up to her. And then we started noticing that her collar was removed. And it's funny now we think about it, we actually forgot about her when she had the collar, because when she started coming around, we're like, who is this cat? She doesn't have a collar, she doesn't have a tattoo that we could see on her ears. So we were kind of worried, and then we put the two and two together because I was looking through my photos. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's the same cat. So yeah, fast forward to, okay, so that was 2022. So 2023, same kind of story. She would come around and we would say hi. And then I think it was around that time that we started asking around like the kids out in the complex, because we would see her playing with the kids, just super cute, and it just seemed like the kids like knew her and loved her. So I asked one of the kids, I'm like, hey, do you guys, what's the cat's name? Do you know where she belongs or who she belongs to? And then one of the girls said, oh, we call her Ellie, but we're not sure like where she lives. I'm like, okay, I guess if the kids are calling her Ellie, we'll start calling her Ellie as well. And then fast forward to later to 2024 is when I was kind of like more attached to her. For me, like I didn't grow up with a cat. When I lived in the Philippines, growing up there, we had a golden retriever. Her name was Slipper. Rest in peace, Slipper. Didn't grow up with a cat, and I always thought that cats were kind of like
bitchy looking. They don't smile. Sharp claws, sharp teeth.
I just like didn't know how to be around them or handle them. until Ellie was coming around. So snuggly, like she always wanted to be around people, like where the noises are. Even if she didn't want to get held too much, she still like wanted to be close by to where the people are. So anyways, yeah, so slowly she started coming into our actual like house.
One matter of time before she figures out she can slip underneath that, but
Yeah.
let's not give her that.
And at first we were like, oh no, she ran it, like we had the door open and she would just make a mad dash, and then before we know it, she's like running to inside the house, and we're like, oh no, like go catch her, we don't know, and we don't know where she's been. Yeah, in the beginning, like we would try to catch her and with a towel and then take her outside and kind of say like, no, don't come in. But then eventually we were like, okay, let's just, cats are curious, let's have her come in and just wander around. They're really, like, we have some breakable items, but at the same time, you know, we would just like watch and see where she goes and see where her curiosity takes her. So I started doing that. And then that turned into feeding her. So actually, no, before feeding her. Yeah, so she was coming into our place and that was all good. She's like such a cute little guest. And then we noticed that she was spending like every day at our place. And I work from home. So I'm home like all day. And I didn't mind having her around. Like she would come up and join me in my office and we would work together. She would nap. And that was cool. So then we started thinking like, okay, she like, are people, her family worried about her? You know, like we wanted to know where she, oh, Brian's calling. So I think I left off with us being concerned about her family. Like she's been coming around our place every day for pretty much the whole day. So, you know, we just felt it was like our responsibility, since she's with us, to do something about it. So we, you know, at this point, like we don't have anything cat related. Like she's a guest. We're the Airbnb, but we don't have anything cat related. We don't have like a cat carrier, anything like that. So we were like, okay, let's take her to the vet and see if she has a microchip, and hopefully she does, so that we can find some information on her microchip. So that's what we did. Brian was tasked with holding her in the car while I drove, because I wasn't that comfortable with handling her, and I know like he's had cats growing up, so he was comfortable and I felt like he would be like stronger. So that was a very interesting adventure. So the car ride to the vet was less than 10 minutes, but it felt like it was an hour because Ellie was so scared. Like I've never seen or heard a cat do that. Like her eyes were just huge and her meowing was just so like heartbreaking. Like she was crying, I think. And then it got to the point where she was so distraught that she was shaking and she was kind of like hiccuping almost. So I was like, oh, I gotta get there fast, but safely. And then she ended up actually like jumping out of Brian's hands. And I know like his number one concern was me. Like we didn't want her to kind of grab my face so that, you know, I'm like driving like this. Or like, you know, I have a huge scar of like a cat claw on my face. But luckily she didn't do that. She like jumped out and actually went to the back of the driver's seat. So she was on like the floor mat. And I think she seemed to like that because it was like enclosed and she couldn't see, you know, what was happening. So anyway, we got to the vet, and as soon as we walk in, she like ran into whatever space, and the vet and the vet assistant were super sweet. They were like, "Oh, it's okay. Like there's no one else here." And they were like closing the other room doors. And yeah, so we had her inspected. And this was free. Like this was amazing because I called ahead of time and I was like, here's our situation. You know, is there a way that you could check her to see if she has a microchip? If so, like how much was it? And then how much would it be? And thankfully, like, I don't know if it's the same for all, but for this particular vet, they said like free of charge. So yeah, so they checked for the microchip, and sure enough, there was some information on there. Now, very limited information, based on the date that she was spayed. I think that's the terminology, spayed or neutered. From the date range, it appears that she was a COVID kitty. And also on the registration information on that microchip, we had a name and we had a phone number. So, oh, and the city, which was Surrey, so the same city as us. So we had some key information there. And so on the way back, again, it seemed like it was a very long ride just because she was so distraught. But thankfully, we made it home, and we set her free. So I ended up calling this person, and there was no answer. So I left a voicemail. I think the voicemail that I said was, "Hey, so and so, we have your cat Ellie, and just letting you know, she's been coming around our place every day. So in case you were looking for her, she's been here quite a lot, and let us know, if you have any questions, or if you or if you had any concerns." So at this point, it was actually, well, prior to that, one of the reasons why we wanted to check to see her family information is because we were prepared to adopt her if nobody claimed her, because we just, like, at that point really loved her. And so that was the information I gave to the person when I left the voicemail. I also mentioned, no, I didn't mention it yet. No, I just left a voice message, and it was a little bit vague, just mainly about, we have her, let us know if you have any questions or concerns. It was also during this time that it was the Thanksgiving weekend, and we were going out of town without any cell phone range. So we were fully prepared to, we were hoping that we would get a call back like that same night, but and then into the weekend, but we didn't. So we ended up going away for Thanksgiving, and obviously no cell reception. And then on the way home, when we got cell reception, I still hadn't received anything. So I was like, okay, so either this person doesn't care, and we're just gonna allow time to pass a little bit longer, and then we'll proceed with like adoption, yeah, or maybe they went away also on vacation and just hadn't had a chance to call back. So I think it was like we got home, and then I think the next day is when I got the call from the person. So what we learned from Ellie's family is that when they initially got her as a pet, she would always want to go outside. And so what they decided to do was remove her collar, because they were worried that she would get caught like in the fence or wherever she may be. So they felt that it was dangerous, and so that's why her collar was removed. And then because in our townhouse complex, you're not allowed to have an outdoor pet. Like, well, if it's a cat, there should be an indoor cat, and if it's a dog, then they should have a leash at all times. You can't just have like a free roaming animal or pet running around the townhouse complex. So what the guy told me is that they like put her address, like rehomed her so that her actual address is outside of the townhouse complex. So to him, it was a way to say that, you know, the cat doesn't belong to the townhouse complex, therefore don't need to follow any rules, that kind of thing. So then what I said was, we've just fallen like in love with her, and so we'd be happy to like adopt her if that's an option. And then immediately he's like, well, no, like she's not open to that, but you're welcome to like feed her like other people feed her. And then if you have any concerns or any issues, then just give me a heads up. And they were like, okay, that's fair. It's like we much prefer to have her coming around our house and we could still enjoy her company versus like not seeing her at all. Just wondering what's going on. Hey, you okay? Is that comfortable? That was that conversation with Ellie's owner. What? What is it? Come here. And yeah, so since that conversation, we have been feeding her, and she's met my parents and some other members of the family when they come by. She even made it to our 2024 Christmas photo op. I better go because she's kind of going crazy. But yeah, anyway, hope you enjoy that story of Ellie. And if you have any questions about her, or if you have any similar story of like a neighborhood cat coming around to visit you, or maybe your cat goes and visits other people, please let me know, because I love, you know, reading about these stories. I didn't think I would be like a cat person, but yeah, I just love her so much, and now I look forward to seeing her every day. Yeah, so thanks for tuning in and listening to Ellie's story. We'll catch you later.